I'm live. Welcome, welcome. I got started just a bit late, but it's okay. I got my stuff together, sort of. I haven't touched this project since last time I went live. Things look worse before they get better. My brain is chewing on how I want to attach the collar, like whether I want to sandwich it between the linings, what I want to use for its interfacings and stuff like that, as I'm trying to figure out this form over function, but still has to function kind of a garment, which I love this kind of a challenge. They are my favorite kind of challenges. So I've had this pinned up. I've been staring at it, walking past it, just chewing on the pattern at the moment. And figure worst case scenario, it doesn't hurt to do it wrong a few times because at least I'll learn. And I've been thinking about what I want to use for the collar, and dagnabbit, I forgot my steamer. I did get my iron. Because we're working with velvet, that's Toby, he just walked in the room. If you hear he settled now, but the pitter patter, that's Toby. Anyways, where was I? Oh, I have my iron, but you do not want to iron velvet. It is not something we want to iron unless we have a pin board. It sounds like a medieval torture device, but the pins are too close together to do any actual damage to the fabric. And you usually press it on a board of pins. I do not, however, have one because they are very expensive, but I do know people who have them. So as I progress in this project and get into my final draft, I definitely will be borrowing a pin board. Hi, Bruno. You want to come up while I'm talking? Okay, Bruno's here too. But I do have a steamer. It's upstairs, so I won't be using it today. But I did pull out my iron because I'm going to use the buckram. I'm going to give it, I'm going to cut it out of, I'm going to use it for my interlining of my collar. Yeah. I'm thinking of how many layers I want in there, if I want to do 2 or 1. I'm thinking 1 should be enough, but 2 wouldn't hurt. So, why are these hands on the desk and not petting? Is that what's going on, Bruno? Iana says hi. Says hi to you too, Toby. He's right there close to you guys. Iana, now you see really how hot pink that is. Oh my gosh, this color is beautiful on camera. I love the velvet. And this color right here doesn't even exist in real life. But seeing them on my monitor and seeing them in real life, they are very vibrant colors. It's hard for it to capture what color these fabrics really are, and I love it. I see Wonder Woman belt. Yes, this was on my dress form, and I was using it as my waistband measurement because if I put it on right here, I have a straight line. I have a solid straight line that I can use as a reference, and it's a sturdy support. So I was and I can use it for the support for the skirt that I'm working on. So I like this stuff. Feels like a giant crown, but it's a fun belt. I'm not gonna wear it right now because I have to sit down. And although it doesn't stab me, I don't want it right now. But that's why it's out, because I've been using it as a reference on my dress form. My dress form also has all the seams. It's so you can see where the princess seams are and where the quarters and sections of my dress form are. Because, foam, if you don't sand down the seams, you can really see it. And on a dress form, that is great. And I absolutely love that. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. My brain is still chewing on the pattern, so I like to avoid actually working on it while my brain is braiding it. but I have a pretty good idea. I've been chewing on it all day. Oh, Yana, it would be nice to see Felicia wear that costume again and see her twirl. I want to do vaulting in my Wonder Woman costume, to tell you the honest truth. Because when I wear it, I feel like Wonder Woman. And when I coached gymnastics, I had my Supergirls. There was Hot Shots and Supergirls, and I had my Supergirl group. We used to pretend we were Wonder Woman before we went on the vault. And so you had to build up the power. You had to transfer the power to the springs and then use it to go up in the air, get the bad guy, hence handstand, flat back, forward roll, dive roll, kind of a thing over the vault. And then you had to finish. And so we would, Wonder Woman before we went. And so I always thought that one would be fun. And she basically wore a gymnastics leotard, so it makes sense to me. Dan, does Chunk, it really looks metal. How it sheens. Yes. You gotta love foam. Look at that. But it bends and is funky. Here, you guys can look at the pretty. No. Well, I was trying. Let's just grab my laptop. Okay. I got this too. This stuff is my favorite stuff. It's repositionable tacky spray. So it turns your fabric into stickers, temporary stickers that doesn't gunk up your sewing machine. Because if you use real spray glue, that's going to gunk up your sewing machine and screw everything up. This is used for quilters to spray the backs of the quilt of the fabric patterns, and so they can have it all laid out with the appliques how they want. Instead of having it just pinned, you can use this stuff. And it's repositionable, and it doesn't leave an icky residue. So I'm going to probably be spraying this today. I should be getting my own, but I totally stole this from Odin because I knew where his was. But it's okay. He has some of my chemicals right now too, so we good. Yep, no residue, dries clear. Re-stick over and over. This stuff is amazing. When I did the Smosh episode of Dagnabbit, I did a whole army for them, and I completely forgot. Clash of Clans, when we did the Clash of Clans episode, I had to do an army of costumes, and they were rented, and it couldn't be permanent, and I needed to make targets, and I used this stuff, and it was amazing. Didn't damage any of the costumes, and it was the fastest, easy way I could figure that problem out. Yeah, look at me avoiding my problems. This is the problem I want to tackle today. I want to get this cut out. This is my collar. I marked where my center front and center back is so that I can know where I am and that this isn't just some crazy curly cute piece of paper. This is my straight line, and it kind of curves. This way, I have to make sure that I keep this line because this line matches exactly up with the shape of my bodice, but this line on this side, I want to double check that I have it even because I drew it out on the form, and I'm really good at eyeballing, but there's a couple spots where I feel like I'm a little off, so I just want to double check this line on it. I should iron it out. That would make things easy. Okay. Dan is so strong, you can bend metal. Whoa. Yeah, foam metal. Oh, nice. Hannah says Linda Carter is still alive and she's 71. Had to go check. That's awesome. So I'm avoiding working on the problem. Don't worry, I'm only live with you guys watching me avoid the problems. Okay. Get some of this curl out. It'll make my life a little easier. Did you know you can iron paper and it flattens out straight? I love it. Flat patterns just make your life a little easier. Take the time, even like store-bought patterns. You love your, it'll be so much easier. I always don't. but I appreciate when I do. I'm doing this because I'm totally tracing this onto the buckram, and I have a pencil ready to go to draw it directly on there too. So. Okay. I put the buckram away. Good thing it's right here. Okay. There is definitely a strong fold in this. I don't hate it. I'm going to use this as my center back fold if this fits on it. It may not fit. It may be too big. I'm going to try. If it's too big, it's too big. It is too big. Oh well, it was worth a try. I need to do. This is a big piece and it's a waste of fabric, but it'll be fine. I have enough. I will use the ugliest part. That's a center front. I need the center. Where is Bruno? I see Toby and I see Spooky. I do not see Bruno. He probably is somewhere comfortable at the moment. I am going to, my fold is here. My buckram is folded in half, and I'm going to cut 2 same size pieces with the on the long ways, and I'm going to stitch it at the center back. Make sure I have my center. Yes, my center back. I have a little place on fold line. I'm just going to do center back seam on the buckram. I could do it full length because I have the length, but that would be wasteful of fabric. And I don't mind having that extra support in the center back, and I could get the whole piece out of the velvet. So the interlining, nobody's going to even see if I put a seam there. I just have to make sure that I leave myself seam allowance. And I have to iron this nice and flat because these wrinkles are not going to be nice to work with. Yeah, like that's why I keep my paper as flat as I can, yes. But it's also nice knowing you can iron it. I really like how crunchy this is. It's exactly what I want. I want it to really stand up. I want it to be it's like a heavy cardstock, but it's a woven fabric. So you have the benefits of it being a fabric, the washability-ish, the sewability. You can iron it, but at the same time you have that crunchiness and that stiffness of a lightweight cardboard. So yeah, I want to make sure I leave 1/2 inch of seam allowance on both pieces so that I center back. This is the line I definitely want to follow. And where's my French curve? There it is. I'm going to clean up my lines. I still have a roll of craft paper I haven't opened yet. Lucky. I have a roll of butcher paper I asked for Christmas, for Christmas from 8 years ago. And I have patterned with it. I have wasted it more or less, making weird big projects, using it for spill paper and stuff. And I still have a giant roll of butcher paper. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It was completely worth it. I appreciate the supplies. Bernie Davis, ahoy everyone. Welcome, Bernie Davis. I don't like that dent. I want to keep. That's the curve. So there's this little bump here, right where I had a bump in the pattern when I was tracing it on this piece that I have since smoothed out. So I still want to keep it a curved shape. I'm not trying to straighten this line out. I want it to follow this curve. So it had a bump in the pattern. And you just have to finesse it because I'm trying to keep it here. Yeah, and I think I did that. And now I'm just going to measure down to make sure that my collar's the even length. And I'm following this whole line all the way around the neckline. I really need a more sturdy base for this dress form. It is PVC pipe. And if I just used a metal PVC pipe, it would be solid. But I used cheap plastic. This whole thing only cost me $20 for all of it. And she wiggles and she wobbles. And hopefully she doesn't fall down. Okay. I want this to be 4 inches all the way down. And then I'll add my seam allowance just to make sure that I follow this whole curve. Dan just junk. I think I found what I needed for my live stream 30 minutes ago. Isn't that the worst? I'm like, I needed this. Oh well, wasn't meant to be. Don't worry, it's only live, right? If I screw up good enough, it could be a live stream fail. Who knows? One of my electronics bins in my computer room. Yeah. Happens to the best of us. I swear I had it. I knew what I was. Best way to find something, go buy the replacement. You'll find it real quick. Bernie Davis, sticking in a 5-gallon bucket of sand and it will stand still. Yeah, that probably would work. But I should just. Ooh, that's cutting it close. Just in that one spot. Oh, I'm not cutting it yet. We good? Right where I was, yeah. We good. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. Okay. And I'm just going. Now, how do I want to put this together? Because that'll determine the way I do my seam allowance. Pattern pieces. How are these puzzle pieces going to fit together? How am I going to put them together? Am I going to hand stitch it or am I going to try and use a sewing machine? With a little bit of both, kind of a little bit of the both in my head right now. So I think I know this seam for sure is going to need 1/2 inch seam allowance. And I need a 1/2 inch seam allowance there too. I do. I already have this seam allowance. Am I going to need seam allowance there? Technically no, but I want to keep the weight the same, so I am. I'm going to do full seam allowance all the way around the entire thing. Yana with no sewing machine with velvet. I'm going to do a lightweight stitch, see how it goes. I know this type of velvet is easy to sew in the sewing machine. The stretch velvet, it's my favorite. It's easy. It doesn't wrinkle. It's stretchy. I love everything about it. This velvet, which is the nice, real kind of velveteen. It's not as forgiving, not as easy, but I want to get my patterns figured out first, and sewing machine will be a little bit faster. But if it's really not going to work and it does smoosh it and it looks bad, I'll hand sew it. It is what it is, but we'll do what we gotta do. All right. Hopefully I don't regret this. No, I'm not gonna regret this. Oh, that's what I'm missing. Okay, center, front, easy scissors. I don't want to cut my fabric with my excess hanging over the edge. It's just a bad idea. Don't. Okay, on a scale of crappy silky fabric and styrofoam cutting, I think this one is a 9. It's nice and crunchy. It's very easy to cut. It's not paper, it's definitely fabric, but it's one of the more fun fabrics to cut. Too much over here. If I put it over there, Spooky and Bruno will sit on it. I'll just put it out of the way. Let me just press this nice and flat, and then I'll finish cutting it out. Just want to make sure everything's lined up before I do the next part. This stuff can take the heat. It's going to take a minute. I'm going to have to clip it and curve it. But the better you press it, the easier the job will be. Okay. All lined up. Austin Lips. Hi, Felicia. What are you making tonight? Live with us. Sorry, I just saw you live. Well, welcome, Austin Lips. I'm glad you're here. I am still working on this crazy, weird avant-garde dress And it's gonna look a little worse before it looks better. It may not even look better tonight. Oh, good, I'm not touching the table. But that's what I'm working on right now. Kind of a George Jetson professional business lady suit outfit. We'll see. Okay, this is my favorite stuff to cut. It's just a nice one. I got a scrap bin already, and I think Spooky's claimed the pile. Okay, I'm glad I labeled this because with this kind of a shape, where's the center front and where's the center back? And yes, it does matter because these slightly different curves fit these slightly different curves. So I'm really glad I labeled it. I do have my sewing machine tonight. I'm trying to think if I should thread it in white, yellow, or pink. Because I'm going to be joining yellow and pink together. And I'm kind of leaning towards yellow because I want to top stitch the yellow. None of this fully matters because this is more of a first draft than anything, but the better I can do it, the less editing I have to do, the better. So I think I'm going to lean towards yellow thread. Just speaking this out loud. Let me see. I have my sewing machine here. It is not currently plugged in, and I have the thread. I think I'm going to use this yellow. Yep. So if you're going for thread colors and you really want it to disappear, go for a slightly darker shade, not a slightly lighter shade, if you have the option. If it's just the closest color, it's the closest color. But if you're between shades, go for the darker one. Oops. Let me keep my workspace clear so I can function. Stay. Okay. This is just regular stitching, so I'm going to keep it at the default stitch length. If I follow that right, it'll be So I did my center back seam. I'm going to press that down flat so then I have this giant collar piece. Let me see how it's going to fit. And I actually, now that I have it cut out, I'm thinking I might not need as much seam allowance as I thought I did. here, around here, up through here. Center back is here. I'm going to fold it half an inch of seam allowance, which is right about here. Why you don't use pencils, people? The pencil totally got off of my paper and onto my fabric. Boo. It's not the end of the world, but this is why we don't use pencils. But I wanted you guys to be able to see what I was doing. Yeah, not making that mistake again. Thinking, do I want that extra inches? So at half an inch, I think I need to trim. I'm going to cut this out of the fabric with all of the seam allowance, and then I'm going to trim a half an inch off of this. So I'm going to use this for my pattern for the velvet. And then I'm going to trim a half an inch off of this because I don't think I'm going to need to sew it again. It really depends on the way I decide to construct it. I don't have to make any decisions yet, but at least I still have options. Bernie Davis, measure twice, cut once, think thrice. Sleep overnight. At least I try to. So the dust from this pencil is just too much, and I don't want to pull out the yellow velvet and get it all over it. And just make sure not super shedding. Dan does John, my sister-in-law is incubating baby chicks, and all the chirping is making Nico excited. I bet he knows what's going on. Brittany Davis, we got 3 peking ducks, and my pup gets excited about them peking. Aw, I love ducks. I used to have a pet duck. Yes, and the measures. Measure. I feel dusty. Working with white and on wedding dresses, this would infuriate me, having my hands this dirty. I know it's silly, but it does bother me having dirty hands and sewing. Really, really does. And I am used to getting my hands completely spray painted when I'm working on a project, but specifically sewing, I do not like having dirty hands. That's okay. I'm washable, so is the fabric, and I have shell right there, so worst case scenario. But velvet! Oh well, I'm doing it. I need this way. Suppose as little of that lead on here as possible. Well, not lead. Okay. Grain line does matter on this very much because it will change the color, and there is a curve to it. Yada yada. They're meeting up in the center, front, and on back. Brittany Davis says, white fabric dust, foam dust, too much dust. You have no idea. Like, I never realized I was so delicate when it comes to dust, but fabric dusts are the literal worst. The fine synthetic fabrics, like the little fibers that come off of those are the worst, and they can tangle around like your uvula, your nostril hairs. It's just, they get tangled in your respiratory system in general. So like those really fine microfibers, oh, those are terrible. I noticed when I would cut the florals and leaves lace that one created a lot of dust, this really fine polyester, and I could feel it like after I cut it, so I'd have to go wash my hands. And we would go through those lint filters, those air filters. We would fill those things up like crazy. Dust is no joke, and I am apparently very sensitive to it. It is not my favorite thing. All right, so I'm not adding the seam allowance in the center back, but there's still seam allowance on this end and both the top and the bottom, and I definitely know I need that for inside and outside fabric. So I need to cut out 2 pieces, but 4 in my head because they're on the fold. Does that make sense? So 4 halves, or the top and bottom. So I need to cut this out twice. I am not going to trace it. I am just going to use some pattern weights, i.e. my phone, as a pattern weight. It is one of my favorites because it's flat and the right kind of heavy. So that's everything. I really need to be straight of grain and being on the fold and I'm lined up with my selvage edge. And then I have it so I'm not hanging off the table. Let me make sure I'm completely flat. Austin Lips, sorry I missed you and Odin yesterday. I was busy and saw it for 5 or 6 last night. Just telling you, I love your guys' channels. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it had been a month since our last live stream. I was gone, he was gone, we were both gone. And then the weather got crazy. Whoa, I love how velvet can smoosh together like 2 pin boards. It's crazy. It's a great fabric to work with. It's terrible, but I love it so much. Dan does junk. I'm the same with dust. Yeah, it's probably for the better because it's not, I can't see it being healthy to breathe that much dust in. I really can't. All right, put on my fabric weight. And the big scissors. This is hot. I don't want to burn myself. Don't want to twist my grain. Oh, straight. Do you guys hear Toby whining right there? He's very upset that we are not in bed, that I'm working on a project, not being comfy. I love these scissors. They do not do delicate fine fabrics, but they sure do chomp through these heavier fabrics. Where my fabric scissors that'll cut the light, dainty, silky fabrics wouldn't be able to handle. Hi, Toby. How are you doing? That was weird. Toby just poked Spooky. He was comfy in his spot sitting on the cardboard that I was going to use later. Poked Spooky and like told him we're going out of this room and let him into the kitchen. Cats and dogs. At least they like each other. Dan does junk. Yeah, he asked if I could stream with him that previous Sunday, but then got called into work. Yeah, I know. You guys were supposed to go live. And because I was like, I'm not going to be there. And then he ended up not even going, so. Yeah, they really do like each other, Yana. Okay, make sure I am lined up again. I really like this velvet. It is so fun. It is a great color. Ouch, that's me. I don't really need fabric weights on this, but I'm going to anyways. I'm making progress. Therefore, it's getting quiet. That's okay. We're on the line. Said that a few times now. I was trying to think if I needed a front and a back, a right and a wrong. But it's a symmetrical piece on a fold. And the naps are both going the same direction. So I should be fine. But you can't overthink these things of which way are all the pattern pieces facing, because there's a nap and it does make a difference. Yana, my offer still stands if you need help cleaning your house. I'm actually I'm pretty good. I got my house all tidied up. I got this room completely emptied up. Right in time for me to start a whole new project in it. I think Odin just has too many craft supplies in his studio. It's a very overwhelming amount of stuff in there. Austin Lips. Well, we got dust and dog hair makes me cough. Sorry, bad spelling words. Need to get better, but clean and get dusty and dirty again. 5 dogs makes it hard. I get that. Toby is a short hair dog, but I am his hairs are bristly that every once in a while they stab me in my foot. I don't step on pins as much as I step on Toby hairs. I get that, but I'm not allergic to dogs and cats as much as it's synthetic fabrics, synthetic foams, these plastics, it itches. If they get in your eyelashes, when the fibers get in your eyelashes, that's the worst. But the thing is that helps with the best with that is mascara. I don't typically wear makeup when working with bridal gowns because I don't want to accidentally touch my face and then destroy things that I'm working at, because getting a stain out can take an hour off of a project just trying to get a stain out. But having mascara on kept the flakes in the gunk on my eyelashes as opposed to on my actual eyelashes, and it washed off. So I would throw on mascara for dust reasons. It also works with pollen when we would shoot outside. Even if I don't wear makeup, I will throw on mascara just to keep the dust out of my eyeballs. Get it stuck to the gunk and not in there. All right. I have my giant collars. I think I'm going to sandwich it. I don't think there's any problem with sandwiching it. And I'm going to sew it like a pouch and not sew the whole top. The reason I don't necessarily want to keep the seam allowance on the buckram is because I don't want to have to iron it. But if I pre-iron the buckram, will it give me a crisper edge? Balancing out pros and cons of how I'm going to finish these edges because they make a big difference on structure and support in weird little ways. I think I'm just going to stitch it and try and finger press it. This stuff is really crunchy and it does finger press really well with the half-inch seam allowance because I was able to finger press this. So I'm not going to trim down the seam allowances. I'm going to leave it as is. We'll see if I regret it. If not, I can rip it apart. It's not permanent. It's just it'll just be stitched. And it's easy to rip out stitches. Austin, let's smoosh it. Exactly. Just smoosh it. Smoosh it. Yes, smoosh it. Oh, I love this color. But it gives me the yellow happy face vibes. Look at that with this. Giving me Barbie vibes today. Jetson Barbie. All right. I really am regretting the pencil mark. Oh, wow. We live and we learn. I have a bigger glass table, but I just haven't wanted to move it into this room. But having the space to cut out big pieces of fabric may be worth it. Dentist Junk. Okay. Good night, everyone. Good night, Dentist Junk. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a moderator. And thank you for being willing to jump in for the live stream with Odin and appreciate all the help. So thank you for being here. Good night, Dan. You know, I need to have access to a makerspace. I understand. I feel like libraries should be the next makerspaces. I know that Sacramento Library was trying to get a 3D printer space set up, but the plans got halted due to the panorama. But I think that community colleges and other places are great maker spaces. Do I have my pin bowl? My big giant magnet bowl. I usually stick it here, like it gets pushed out of the way and sometimes ends up on the edge of things. I totally hid that from myself right before the stream. Oh well, so much for me being completely prepared. We all good though. I have random bits and bobs sitting here. I feel like this is the Barney bag. Remember back in the day, got some things, some old string. Needle and thread, I might actually need that. Rubber cement, gaff tape, gloves, measuring tape. a seam ripper. These are important. A toothpick with a heart on it. Very important. Now I'm just... Here we go. Okay. Alright, so let me just double mark this on both pieces before I start trying to put everything together. Mark my center. With a tailor's tack. What is a tailor's tack? It's just marking it with a piece of thread that you can cut out later. But it gives you very precise marking. And you can get both pieces on it. Okay. And let me mark this one before I start trying to put everything together. Other than I just lined everything up, I got that scared epiphany of what if I used my center front as my center back and then my curves don't match up on the lining and the thing. But my center back was already sewn before I cut it out. I put that on the fold. So I have my center back in the correct spot. But I'd rather be worried about it and double check it a few times than have to cut it out again and again. I don't feel lined up. I am lined up. Just double check. I love how velvet sticks to itself like a felt board. It really stays in place when you need it to. Now let's line this all up, making sure we line up our center back, center fronts. And we're going to make a sandwich with the first fabric layer laying face up with the right side facing towards us on my sandwich. I will pick that up in a second. My second piece, going to lay face down, lining up my center front fold line and this curve. Okay. And then my other piece. Okay. All of these are lined up where all my pin marks lined up. Yana, let's be right back. All right, see you when you get back. Bernie Davis can't type while I have a cat on my good arm. I feel like that's a fun problem to have. I will take those kind of problems. I feel like life always has problems, but my favorite type of problems are like, what color do you want your fancy pretty dress? You know, I'd take those problems over when am I going to pay the bills? No. There we go. It all lines perfectly up. And I am going to gingerly run through the sewing machine. I know there are ways to loosen up the tension on your presser foot. I, however, don't want to mess with that on the sewing machine because I won't put it back. And I am just going to increase my stitch length to the longest stitch length so I don't hand stitch the whole thing. And where's the pattern piece? I will get this out of my way. and center back this way. So this is our pattern piece. This is our center back. This is our center front. And the shoulder's over here and it sticks out this wide. I'm going to stitch the center front down and all the way through to the other center front. So I'm going to make a giant pocket that on this side is sewn and this side you could reach in. And then I'm going to turn it inside out. And this is the side that I'm going to attach it to here. And that will all be closed in that seam. So that is the plan. Yeah, that's the plan. Okay, stitch length is on just a regular straight stitch, and I have increased the stitch to a basting stitch. I really should pin this together. Let me see if my pins are right here. Because it will make a better job if I have my pins. I genuinely don't know where I put all my pins. That's okay. I will just seal these ones for the moment. We'll put her back together. I'm just going to borrow these for the moment. Stay don't fall over. This hot pink and this hot pink are my pattern pieces I've already cut out. Put these over here because those are pattern pieces and not scraps. I am just going to pin up this. Oh, Austin Lips, I think I need a new good remote for my PlayStation. The fourth triangle is stuck and it works just stuck. I get that. My Switch, Nintendo Switch. I've gone through a couple controllers, not on purpose, but then the Animal Crossing people, they would start going in circles. Like going inside the houses sometimes when the trigger's stuck. It's a little dizzying. I really like it when the pieces just fit straight together. It's like such a satisfying feeling because when your pattern pieces don't stick together, aren't the same shape, and they don't lay together nicely, it usually is a sign that you're sewing it like the armhole in the neck hole, the arm in the neck hole or something crazy like that. It's usually a bad sign. So when things just like fit together like puzzle pieces, it's just a very reassuring sign. I am going to stitch this half and then pin the other half. Actually, as long as this thing's so long, it's longer than my table. I can't fit this whole collar in its entirety on my table. I love it. Absolutely love it. One more pin, one more pin. No more pins stabbed. Aha, one more pin. We'll get to that pattern piece later. Stab. hate how long this is. Let me go onto this edge of the table so that I can, yeah, fit it as flat as I can here. To be right on the edge with this interlining. Okay, got this. This fabric moves around so much and it sticks together at the same time. I'm getting a little nervous before I start sewing because I don't want to have to rip this out and do it again. But if it doesn't do it right, I will rip this out and re-sew it again. Oh, I might be ripping this out. Let me feel. I may be hand sewing this. I might be hand sewing this. That's the longest stitch length. It's not. Okay, what I'm kind of dealing with is that it's smooshing the fabric. See how it's kind of wrinkled right in this spot? I know you guys can't really see it. It's a tiny little wrinkle, but it's the fabric being smooshed. And that wrinkle is just going to be there because it needs a longer stitch length, less pressure when I'm sewing it. Because the feed dogs in the top of the sewing machine foot don't push the fabric through evenly. The bottom of the sewing machine has little, what they're called feed dogs, they're little teeth that push your fabric forward. The top, I have some titanium Teflon tape so that it's slides through nicely, but I need to loosen up how hard it's pushing down. I don't know how to adjust that on the sewing machine, and I don't really want to mess it up. But I have a feeling it's just going to push everything around. I think I'm just going to go for it and try and hold it together. Line everything up the best that I can. And just go slowly and not pull. If I take these curves gently, lift up the foot to release the tension. No, this is not going to work. I think I need a walking foot to make this happen if I want to use my sewing machine. So why I'm not continuing, see? Let me go as close as I possibly can. Let's see what you guys can see. So let the color adjust. But see how it's not laying flat? See how it's kind of curved here and just not pulling straight and flat, and this is a little longer and this is a little shorter and this isn't quite going to that edge, and these line up, but it gets more and more off as you go. I know for a fact these pieces are the exact same shape. They pin together exactly. I trace them out off of the same shape. But when I go to stitch it, the fibers, they're on top of each other. And then they smoosh, smoosh, and smoosh together off. And because the bottom is going this fast and the top has just a flat, it's just sewing them ever so off, which is why you can usually smoosh things together to make it work. But this is going to be wonky if I keep sewing with this. This is going to have to be hand basted. Yes, Ionolith, that's why I said hand sew. I knew better. I know this stuff right here, the stretchy version, great through a sewing machine. I know velvet's delicate. I knew she was a delicate little child, whatever, delicate little fabric. I need to stop. If I continue with this, it's just going to get wonky and it's not going to be worth it. Yeah. Twill be wonky. But this is all perfectly lined up and straight. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. I love the way it feels already. I'm loving the buckram. It's going to hold that collar shape so nicely. I was considering whether I should wire it or not, and I'm not going to wire it. I think having the 1/2 inch seam allowance, once it's sewn and flipped, if I top stitch that, even hand sewing top stitch it, it'll have an extra layer of the buckram all the way around the edge, so it'll hold everything nicely like a frame. So I think that's going to be great. My structure's coming together. I'm not worried about the immediate construction. I'm very more concerned about the shape of the pattern pieces, because will it get my vision together or will it be like portions are off, you know? So I have a seam ripper. Seam ripper. These patterns, I love those. They're great. Keep those there. Yeah, this is just not going to work. And no offense, hand sewing's just too boring if I don't have something to chit chat about. And I feel a little weird talking to myself. I know you guys are responding, so it's really nice. But I think hand sewing is not something I want to do on a live stream at the moment. So I don't think I will be getting this collar fully put in tonight live. I might baste it tomorrow afternoon. Austin Lips, you're doing a great job tonight. Thank you. To Bernie Davis, it be wonky. Yes. So you know when you get off on sewing and you're like, I can't sew, it's not always you. Sometimes it's the fabric and they just get a little wonky. And you really pin, and you still can get, look how wonky that is. And I know these are exactly the same shape and size. They say hi, Toby. Want a high five? Toby. He is so mad that I'm not in bed right now. He wants to go to bed. Hey, Toby, Bernie Davis, and Iana, let's say hi. He's like, I just like pets. Okay. You know, if that's why I hand sew, time to rip those seams. Yep. Oh, I can't eat buttery popcorn when it's hand sewn, that's for sure. I like snacking on Cheetos on set, but I can't do it when I'm styling because I don't want to get Doritos all over the clothes. So. Bernie Davis, pets are good at teeping time. Yep, Toby is sitting on my feet right now. See, right here. Hi, Toby. Letting me know it's time to go to bed. He's tired. He's had a hard day of laying around all day. Be honest. If I eat Cheetos, I wear gloves. I don't wear gloves, but I have used chopsticks. Cheetos with chopsticks is not the worst. When you have to keep your hands clean. Okay. I could rip this harder, but I don't really want to damage my velvet way more than I have to. But I have my collar cut out. I usually get stuck on my projects at the cutting out phase. So I got the fabric for the bodice cut out, and I have the fabric and the interfacing for the collar. I'm going to have to stitch that together. I'm not going to do that on the live stream. And then I have to attach this to that. And if I'm hand stitching it, I might as well hand stitch it. But that will completely change the way I attach my lining for the moment. I can do that live though, because I have what I'm using for the interfacing while I'm figuring all of this out, this cardboard here. And I have my Eileen spray glue. So let me get everything I don't really want to spray glue. Actually, I'll spray glue over here on this corner. That's just the paper. Because I'm going to spray glue the inside of this piece here. Yeah. Thinking out loud. This beautiful collar, I'm just going to keep pinned together. Since I didn't stitch the whole thing, I just started stitching it, realized I'm so off, and I'm going to stop here with this part. But this is the pattern piece for that collar. This is my let me make this pattern right about there. Here to here. Okay, so I want to add, for all intents and purposes, a stomacher as part of this structured inner part. And when I say stomacher, I want to put a piece of supported fabric right here on the inside of this piece, because this piece, I want to, although it fits exactly perfectly where I need it to be with all the ease, especially according to the measurements I was given, I want to be able to, look at, she's going peekaboo, the girl on my shirt. I want to be able to have a little bit of freedom and wiggle room with the model, just in case. So if I needed to come out a little bit or take it in a little bit, it's not going to be the end of the world. So if I go about 8 inches from an 8-inch placard, so 4 inches on either side of the center front line, I will have a piece slightly bigger than within the princess seams of my dress form. my dress form right here, you can see in the shiny lines, my princess seams here and here. So 8 inches is just outside of the princess seams on either side, because I think it's about 3 inches. I have a measuring tape. It's 2.5 inches. So if I go to 4 inches from my center, yeah, that overlaps the, goes past the princess seams on either side. So it'll give me quite a range of wiggle room. But it really won't have that much wiggle room because there will be the limitation of how much the tie covers in the center front, and you don't want the collar too wide. But it will give, and especially since it's a cone, there is still more in the front than there is at the waistband, so it also, you can adjust the shape. That's probably why stomacher is more or less worth name, because it really does make basic bodice shapes like this really flexible in sizing. Brittany Davis, I talk to myself all the time. Yeah, it's how I kind of get things together and organized. Yana, the same here. Yana, it's the only way I can remember anything. I know how that goes. Yeah, I'm looking for this thing. I'm looking for this thing. Ooh, another shiny object. Wait, I know, I'm looking for that thing. I have to. Yeah. Toby, he is just sitting here, but come on, let's go. Yana, behind the scenes fashion. So who is going to wear this? Let me see, do I have a name? Her name is Julie. She is a model. I'm not going to say her last name just because she doesn't know that. Well, she knows she's doing this photo shoot, but I got the information on her measurements and size, and they're not too far off from this dress form. And yes, so this piece is being commissioned by Raul Gonzo, who's a photographer that I work with a lot. This is going to be a fun piece. And he already has a model, he has a date, we have a deadline, so now I just really got to get this thing off of paper and into a 3-dimensional object. But center front, measure 4 inches out on either from the center front. And then I will trace this onto another piece of cardboard so that I can then have a whole nother separate piece. Awesome, that's me too. Helps you figure stuff out. Yep, maker's gonna make, and apparently we talk to ourselves. Silver Sword, welcome Silver Sword. I haven't heard your name before. Hello Felicia, I like your solo streams a lot, and I'm also very happy with the new 1080p resolution. That was a good idea. You can thank Odin for that. This is his camera. He totally was like, you need to do a little better than that in the nicest way possible. So say thank you to Odin for me for that one. Because for better or worse, I was just like, I need to do it anyways. Okay. So I measured, can you even see it? You know what? I have a pen, you guys can see better. I found out that Ryobi's Sharpie or black markers run in the water. So I will have to keep that in mind if I want to draw on fabrics to worry about the leaking. But this isn't going to get wet, and it is just, but I am going to cut this piece out, draw a center line, front line and then cut it out as one piece. Toby kicked Spooky off my cardboard, so I have access to my cardboard. I have been putting this off because every time I've worked on this project, Spooky has claimed my cardboard, you know, as cats do. But, yay, I have my sheet of cardboard back. The stuff is the best. You guys want to see what I was going to use when I was waiting for Spooky to get off my cardboard? It's right here. I had this chip box as my backup because, you know, cat's comfort comes first, just while I'm figuring out the infrastructure and support, but yeah. I want to make sure I have enough on the other side. Bernie Davis says, I would love to look like a model and have curves in all the right places. You know, honestly, I work with models all the time, and hair and makeup does a lot. It really does. People come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and I've seen transformations happen. But I think people are interesting looking. I love them. In all shapes and sizes. Okay, so I have half a pattern here that I'm going to transfer so that it's a full pattern. So I drew my center front line as a guideline. I'm going to trace it on this side and then flip it and try to trace it on the other side so that I'm matching up my points exactly. Ooh, Toby. Oh, that's all, folks. I'm not just teasing, but good thing we don't have smell-o-vision. Jeez Louise. Toby is right where my feet need to be. I don't want to squish him. I'm just measuring 4 inches out on either side from my center front line. And then I'm going to connect my dots. Then it'll be even on both sides. And I will have wiggle room for it to go up and down within the small, medium, and large size group-ish. You guys are making me hungry. Where are my cookies at? Where are my brownies at? I have chocolate cake, but I don't want chocolate cake. I want brownies. Oh no, problems. Don't turn. You want to still have your popcorn? Can't have popcorn. My hands will get dirty. Can't eat finger foods while I'm sewing. suppose you could eat popcorn with chocolate, but then you're not hand-pulling it. And you can't scoop chocolate. Can't scoop popcorn. I don't want to cut my cardboard with these scissors. Crappy scissors it is. These, at once upon a time, were my sharp scissors, but they are my sharp paper scissors now. You know what, I'm just going to cut this off of this piece so I can cut it nicely without the bulk of this. To the toppy. Okay, now this in front. Let me label this, not with the pencil. Pen ink. Center front. Smart. Now I know it where it is. So this should line up here, and this should fit in there perfectly. So now I can adjust the shape as needed and expand as needed. And I will definitely favor following the curve of the top and adjusting it towards the bottom as I need to make this curve bigger and more crazy in shape or come in tighter so that there's more arm movement. You know, because this is actually going to be on a real person and it needs to be in this weird abstract shape. But it's like a waffle cone. That piece and this piece. I don't have this piece cut out already, but I have the fabric for this piece for the inner lining already. Davis, Felicia the Transformer. It's a robot in disguise. It's not going to be very, it might stick out a little bit if it wears this, I'm just saying. Alright, I am going to spray this on top of, I have a roll of painter's paper. I got this for painting house stuff, and I still have a ton of this left over. And I'm going to step right here and spray real quick. I'm going to spray this piece of paper right here, one side of it, and I'm going to turn this into a giant sticker. Wish me luck. 1 second, I'm going to roll out the paper. This is where I could use Spooky as my paperweight, but he doesn't like being sprayed. Come right here. It's okay. That, before I spray, I'm spraying the side. So this is a piece of flat paper that has been stored in a roll, and it's been rolled this way and not this way. So even though it's flat, there's definitely a right side and a wrong side, like the tortilla, like a tortilla. There's the first side that's cooked and then the second, it just naturally wants to curve in one direction more than the other. I'm doing the lining side, so I want to have the inward curve. It's going to make a big difference in the way the pattern pieces actually fit together. That's why I'm mentioning it. That pay attention to the way the cardboard, your interlining curves. So, yes. Weird, but it makes a difference. I've made that mistake. That's why I mention it. You see all the spray glue? It's all splattered here. I'm just going to give it a second to get a little bit drier. And this stuff is great because it's restickable. Iana, if that's a possibility, it totally is a possibility. I have wanted to be a Transformer costume since I saw that little kid get up in his Transformer costume. Definitely sounds fun. Austin lips. This might be weird, but I use metal cutter for my cardboard boxes and paper. Yeah, it works. Not having to sharpen the scissors, it helps me with my hands and stuff, as I'm limited with my hands. No, completely makes sense. I would use a razor blade, other than mine aren't sharp right now. They really are not. And I have tons of scissors. But cutting cardboard and cutting a lot really does fatigue my hand. Even cutting out like nice fabrics using sharp scissors, having to cut out one dress will I'll feel the dents right here and right here in my hand from the overuse and the repetitive use of the same muscle memory. That's why I absolutely love power rotary cutters. Shh, don't listen to this Ryobi. But my favorite one isn't Ryobi brand. It's actually some brand I can't even read the language of. And rotary cutters are my favorite for cutting out fabrics, for cutting out stacks of fabric, for cutting out delicate layers of fabric. I do have a Ryobi cutter that's great for paper, leather, and kind of more heavy duty stuff like this. And I definitely love it for cutting out cardboard, but it does not do fabric, and I want it to do fabric. And it makes me sad because I have used, I had one for the wedding dresses for cutting out the fabric, not Ryobi brand. I had one that worked. That was some brand I didn't even recognize. It's an industrial one. So I really because of scissor fatigue and bruising, and it can be a lot to just cut out one project. I definitely appreciate that there is a power tool available for that part of the job. All right, so now I have a giant sticker that will kind of remain sticky, so I'm not on a time crunch that it's going to dry out on me. So I'm going to stick this to my fabric, and I'm really glad that I traced my seam allowance onto here, because it being a woven fabric, it can wiggle around a lot, and I can just line all this up with the seam allowance and know that to smoosh it too much because I don't want to crush the velvet. I don't want this to be a crushed velvet. But I do want it to stick. If there wasn't a camera here, I'd just go. My computer's here and my camera's here, so that's not going to happen at the moment. But I do have a glue stick. Don't use this on fabric, people. This is great on fabric. I'm not going to use it on fabric. Don't use this. Not on this project. This stuff, I'm going to give it a try, but I'm not in love with this stuff. So this is my outside of my fabric. This pink that I'm attaching right now is going to be my interlining. So if I stick this all down, I then can stitch the outside fabric to where it needs to go. I don't really like, I just throw stuff apparently. Give me a second. Okay, got it. I love that these colors are so vibrant that the light just doesn't know how to deal with it. It really does not know how to deal with it. It's blinking like it's a party in here. How does it register this pink versus that pink versus that pink versus this pink? It doesn't know what to do. And this is green and not yellow. I am too entertained by this. I think I'm just gonna step over to the side and spray the edges with the fabric glue because I like that glue better than this glue. Austin, what's happening? The camera is really confused by the vibrancy of these amazing colors going on here. And it's just too much to handle. That's what I'm assuming. Because the lighting, it just keeps trying to adjust to color balance. And I have some vibrant colors going on. All right, let me just bring this over here because I'm going to go spray it around the edges. Gently, gently. Ah, don't come off. I would do this over there, but I don't want to spray my camera. Please forgive me. Toby's right there, but he's not being entertaining right now. I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. How did I get it? All right, spraying. Spraying edges. Spraying. You guys cannot see what I'm doing. All right. It has been sprayed. I want to make sure there's no air bubbles in it, but it's going to be curving this way. So I have to make sure the air bubbles don't go this way. And it's not smoothing them out that way, because if I smooth them all out while it's stretched out this way, when I go to turn it back this way, it will be not quite right. So I'm going to put it completely flat and now smoosh the edges. Iana with, it's Felicia's fault because the fabric is so blingy. Well, it's not blingy, vibrant. But yeah, it's definitely a party. These colors are parties in and of themselves. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's curving over so nicely. So nicely. I was thinking I was gonna have to clip the curves. Oh, it's just doing it. It's smooshing very nicely. Just kind of smoosh it gently. And it's doing what it needs to do. Oh, look at that. I'm a little worried about these. These are definitely curves that I'm putting the excess fabric on. And I don't want it to be too bulky in these seams. And I don't want huge wrinkles. I'll cut the wrinkles out if I have to. Brittany Davis, I'm getting tired and have work tomorrow, so I'm calling it a night. Good night, everybody. Good night. It must be really late because here in California, it's almost 11, so I will probably call it a night after I get this lined. Yeah, I can do this tomorrow, and I will be ready to hand stitch. So yeah, when this part is done, I will call it a night. I'm cutting off the excess corners fabric because I do not need that in my life at the moment. What is that fabric from? I don't know. Do I want to cut up this excess? Yeah, I do. Right there. That. Beautiful. And what's nice is that if it's not perfect, I can peel it back up and push it down again and re-smoosh it because it's, look at that. Just undo what I just did and do it a little bit nicer. Or a little bit worse. There we go. Now it's folding over nicely. Oh, I love this stuff. When I'm trying to figure things out and I just want it to hold and I know it's not going to be gunky. Because spray glue gets gunky, but this stuff at least is made for quilting. And now these are too curved. I'm going to slice all the way around and then smoosh it flat before. I don't want to cut it with these scissors, even though these scissors are probably going to be the ones I end up using. Aha, junky ones. These ones will do. Will they work? Nope, they do not cut. I need these titanium ones. Good night, Bernie. Everybody's saying good night. Toby wants me to say good night. I'm almost there, Toby. I'm almost there. He's sitting there just quietly crying at my feet. Going, Can you guys hear him going, Right, Toby? Oh, let me smoosh. Cut that again. I absolutely love that this you can push down, peel off, and push down, and there's really not. That's so nice. Look at that. Isn't that nice? This is the inner lining, so it's going to be fully velvet lined. One more. Smoosh, 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 smoosh without over crushing the velvet. Smoosh, 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 smoosh. going to be really nice. It feels very nice velvet lined. It's not going to be painful. So what I worried about is that I'm supporting this all at the waist. This whole garment is going to be hinged off the waist because it's not touching the shoulders. It's away from the body. It's not supported at the bust. It's not supported at the back. It's definitely away from the body. Whole bodice is supported on this at the waistline. And the whole circle skirt. Which I have here, is going to be supported right at that waistline. So this whole look is going to be held right here. So I want to keep it as lightweight as possible. I know I'm using these lush, heavy velvets, but I'm going to keep it as lightweight as possible because it's all just going to be supported right at the hips or the waist, you know? Yeah, I think it's going to work. This is coming together. Okay, can you guys even see this? There's a slight wrinkle right here. You guys cannot see that at all. Nope. Well, anyways, I was going to show you. You can peel it off and smoosh it back down. Yeah. Actually, I don't even have to do that. It's smooshed out. Oh, that's so nice. Okay. I don't want to keep going inside, outside, and getting it all unstuck, but I want this to be curved in. And my lining fits this perfectly, but my outside fabric is slightly loose because it hangs away from the body like it's a tucked in shirt, kind of based off of this I want it to look like it's tucked in at the waistband. I don't want it to look like a smooth, complete bodice that's completely crunchy. I want it to look like a dress shirt that's just been tucked in, but I want it supported away from the body, so it's a little more cartoony. But yeah, it gets a little crazier looking before it starts to look the way I want to. Yana says, that's actually how I want to design the sleeveless shirt so I can get rigged up my wing pack more easily. Yeah, you really have to think, who's going to be dressing you? Are you going to be dressing yourself? How are you going to get in and exit? What are your closures going to be? I'm still kind of thinking about all the different closure options that I have. I have so many closure options. It makes a big difference. All right. Toby is telling me it is time to call it a night. I have my pattern I'm a little bit worse before I'm better. Things are a little bit chaotic before they start to come back together. But I now know that I need to hand stitch a few things. I'll pre-thread some needles for the next live stream so I can just like whip it out way faster. It'll take me a little prep work, but it should be good. Any questions before I leave? Because Toby's ready for bed and I think I am too. It is 11 o'clock, so it must be late where you get late. Good night, Ionalith. You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining me on these live streams. Yeah, if you like this, please support me, like the stream. I will keep you updated. I do have a deadline for this project, so this project will end. I am loving that I am tripping out the camera with my colors. It makes me happy. Good night, everybody. Good night, Austin Lips. Good night, Ionalith. Good night, everybody that's been here. Until next time.